Okay, you'll want to make sure that you have your homework paper with you, and if you don't have that, you can download it from the website. Make sure you have a writing utensil, and let's get started because I know you'll want to play bingo on Thursday. We've been talking about group discussion and the different procedures and the roles that people play. And I'm going to go ahead and review the discussion process again because it's important for you to know that. You want to begin by defining the problems. You can't really discuss something if you don't know specifically what all the terms mean and what exactly the problem is, and that includes analyzing what has caused the problem. Then you want to determine what the criteria for your result is going to be. What do you want the end to be like? You want to then generate ideas, and that's the brainstorming part, without analyzing them, because you don't want somebody to stop giving ideas because they're afraid of what you might say. Then you'll start evaluating the ideas one by one. And finally, you want to select the best idea that solves the problem and meets your criteria. And the last step would be to decide how to implement the idea. And of course, as you've discovered, that there are advantages with working with groups. Some of the activities we've done have exemplified that, because you have more ideas, which means more people, which means you have more ideas and different ways of looking at things, and more experience that can be brought in to help figure out what the response to the problem should be. And you have a diversity of thinking. And as some of you have discovered, the disadvantage is that you're working with more people, and so you have more personalities, people who would just as soon rather not do the work and do what they can to do people off task, and you have to deal with other people's ways of thinking, which might not meld with your way of thinking. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about the different roles that people play in group discussions. There are three types of roles. The people who study this categorize what people do in group discussions into three types of roles. Those are the task-oriented roles, the ones that help the group do what it is that they are supposed to be doing. And then you have the social roles, because in order for you to accomplish what you need to accomplish, you need to be able to get along. And so the social roles keep the group working together as a team. They help to keep the harmony in the group. And finally, you have the individualistic roles. These are the roles that people use that put them in the forefront in the group. You've heard them say, there's no I in team, right? Well, there's a big I in individualistic. And when people are doing these roles, they're putting all the focus on them. And typically what happens is, as we go through this, you don't even recognize some of the people that you know in the roles of the task-oriented or the social roles. I mean, sometimes you might recognize somebody from your group of friends that fulfill those roles, but when it comes to the individualistic roles, students know all kinds of people that fill those roles. So let's go on and talk about the different roles, because this is where you want to start taking notes so that you can play bingo next time. The first task-oriented role is the initiator-contributor. This is the person who starts things rolling, who starts the whole process rolling, and has lots and lots of ideas. So imagine that you are in a group of friends and somebody says, well, we're all together here. What should we do? And this becomes your problem that you need to address. And so the initiator-contributor is the one who comes up with the ideas. And they come up with, we can go ring doorbells, we can go roller skating, we can go bowling. Hey, let's go egging. This is the person who comes up with lots of ideas, the initiator, contributor. Then you have the information seeker. This is the person who asks more information about the task at hand. And so then you have, so it can get clarified. So they'll ask a lot of questions. Do you mean like throwing eggs at cars? I just want to be sure what we're talking about here. The initiator, or the information seeker, the information seeker. Then, after that, you have the opinion seeker. The opinion seeker will ask for input from the different group members. They help keep everybody in the group participating so that you get the benefit of that diversity of different experiences. And so they'll say something like, oh, well, everyone, does that sound like fun? So the opinion seeker looks for input from the group. The information giver. The information giver offers facts or generalizations to the group. So this is the person who, now that you've got a topic to talk about, they're going to give you those background informations, the background information that you need so that you can discuss it. Well, I know where we can get eggs, or Dylan's was having eggs on sale this week. Or it's almost Easter. Walmart has lots of eggs on sale. So I know where we can get the information giver. Then you have your opinion giver. This is the one who doesn't present facts, but has done maybe some thinking about the facts and the problem at hand, and states their belief or their opinion about the group issue. So in our example, the opinion giver might say, well, I'm thinking that egging might lead to some trouble. Now, there isn't a fact involved there, but they have given their opinion or their about the whole issue at hand. Then you have the elaborator. To elaborate on something means to expand upon it, to talk more about it, give more details. A lot of times I will elaborate with an example, often a story, an elaborator. So the elaborator explains within the group, or explains ideas within the group, and offers lots of examples to clarify. For instance, well, I had a cousin once who was caught egging, and he had to wash cars every day for a month. This short little narrative, this short little story, serves as an example to help clarify the idea that the opinion giver had that said, I think egging might get us into trouble. And here the elaborator tells us about a cousin who, in fact, got into trouble because he went out egging. The coordinator connects the dots. The coordinator shows the relationships between different ideas, or the ideas in the examples. So in our little example, the coordinator might say, so, you're saying that if we go egging, we could end up like your cousin, washing cars every day for a month. So the coordinator shows the relationships between the ideas, connects the dots for people. Then you have an orienter. To orient something is to point it in the right direction, and the orienter is the one who might shift the direction of the group's discussion in a task-oriented way. Okay, so in our example, the task orienter or the orienter might say, well, if egging is going to get us into trouble, let's look at other options for something to do. And now the conversation is going to shift away from egging, maybe to something else. Then you have your evaluator critic. This is the person who measures what the group is deciding and what the group is thinking and saying against some sort of standard that's already been set. When the question was asked in our example, what should we do today? Well, then the standard here is today. So your evaluator critic will say, well, whatever we do, we need to do it today. They're going to hold whatever, make sure the discussion runs so that it meets the criteria that's been established. We're going to do something today. Then we have the energizer. This is the person, yeah, just like the Energizer Bunny. I know some of you said that. This is the person who stimulates the group to a higher level of activity. It's a cheerleader. Come on, we can do this. We can do this. In our example, the Energizer will say, hey, we don't have to work from one idea. Come on, let's come up with more suggestions. Everybody get going. Let's go. We can do this. Your Energizer. Then you have somebody, and that's called the procedural technician. This is the one who breaks it down into steps. Remember last semester how we talked about it's important when you have a task to break it down into smaller steps. The person who does this is for the group is a procedural technician. Okay, they will divide things up, tell people what they're going to do, where they're going to go, how it's going to get accomplished. So in our example, they'd say, well, if we all get a dozen eggs, we'll have lots. I know where we can go. And then finally we have our recorder. And you notice in your group discussions, I've been telling you, you need to have somebody that writes this down so you can keep track of where you are. That would be your recorder. They keep record of the group actions. In very formal meetings or very formal group discussions, this is often the group secretary will keep the minutes of the meeting. And that's like being a recorder. But in an informal group, like our example, you don't necessarily have somebody who keeps minutes because you don't have minutes when you hang out with your friends. But I bet you've got somebody who says, I'll bring my camera, or nowadays, I'll bring my phone so I can make a scrapbook and I can give everybody one when we're done. These are your task-oriented roles. From here, we're going to go on to the social roles. The social roles are the roles, remember, that keep the group working well together. They help bring harmony to the group. If you don't have anybody conducting the social roles, you end up arguing and everybody gets mad and nothing gets done. So the first social role that we're going to talk about is the encourager. And this is the person that praises the ideas of others. Pictures! Oh, what a great idea! So the encourager, somebody gets an idea, that's good, that's a good idea. Keep going. We need more ideas like that. Good thinking. These are the kind of things that an encourager might say. The harmonizer mediates differences between the group members. To mediate something means that they work as an in-between person to bring two people together. Maybe you and your best friend are having an argument, and you use a third friend to help you work out the discussion. Okay, a mediator is someone who comes between people and makes it easier for them to get along together. So the harmonizer might say something in our example, well, I'm sure Ron didn't mean to hurt your feelings. or, well, he wasn't talking about you, or, I don't know. But you get the general idea. The harmonizer is the one that smooths over the rough patches so that people can still work together well. Then you have the compromiser. You guys know what a compromise is. That's when you make an agreement and everybody gains something and everybody gives a little bit up. So the compromiser is the one who proposes different ideas to compromise. They move the group to another position that's favored by everybody. In our example, well, if we want to have fun throwing things and still avoid getting into trouble, maybe we could play paintball. Then you have your gatekeeper. The gatekeeper is the person who invites other people into the conversation. They make sure that everybody's contributing. They will make it comfortable for people to give their opinions, especially the quiet ones. You know, the ones who are comfortable talking in front of anybody, they have no trouble giving their opinions. But you want everybody's opinion, not just the loud ones. So the gatekeeper might say something like, "Well, Susie, you've been pretty quiet. What do you think?" So then you have your standard setter, and that is someone who sets standards or criteria for the group to achieve. A lot of times when you first start, your standard setter might say something like, "Okay, we're going to be having this discussion, and it's really important that we not point fingers, or that we watch our tone of voice so that we don't upset somebody when we really don't mean to upset somebody." But whatever we decide, it should be something that we can all do without getting into trouble and still be fun. That would be from our egging example. Whatever we decide to do, it should be something we can all do without getting into trouble, but still be fun. Then you have the group observer. This is the person who keeps record of the group activities and uses this information to give the group feedback and helps make connections. Well, in our example, it might go something like, "Well, you know, last time Joe suggested something like this. He was the first one to disappear when people started getting in trouble." So this person has taken something that has happened with it, that the group has done something similar in the past and made a connection to what is happening now. Then you have the follower. You know, not everybody can be a leader, and a follower is okay to have sometimes, okay? The follower goes along with the group and accepts the group's ideas. If everybody's a leader and nobody accepts anybody else's ideas, you're never going to accomplish anything. So you have to find the balance between agreeing to follow the group in something, even though it might be against your own opinion, or you have to find the balance between that and the person who goes, "Well, I guess that comes later, so never mind." But you know, your follower, you have to be able to identify when is the best time for you to say, "Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go with the group." Compromise with what the group is. So not everybody can be a leader, but if you have all leaders, your group's going to be in trouble. At the same way, if you have all followers, your group's going to be in trouble too. But The follower is an important role in the group as long as it's not overboard. So the follower might say, okay, well, that, I think that would be okay with me. I could go egging if that's what you guys decide. I think I could live with that. Now we're going to go into the individualistic roles. These are the roles that people take on when they're not working to the benefit of the group. Instead, they're making it all about themselves. Okay, the first one we're going to talk about is the aggressor. And the aggressor attacks other group members. He maybe deflates or insults them to put them in their place. So maybe if somebody was trying to lead the group, they might say something, nasty to them that would hurt their feelings and maybe make them be quiet. But they show that other kind of aggressive behavior. In our example, it sounds something like this. Joe, that is a lame idea. Only a nerd like you would come up with that. The next individualistic role we're going to talk about is the blocker. I know you guys know people like this. This person just resists movement by the group. They don't want to do anything the group decides. It sounds something like this. Well, I want to go egging. Well, I don't want to go play paintball. I want to go bowling. Well, what do you want to do? I don't know. I just don't want to do that. This is your blocker. They just prevent anybody from reaching any type of a compromise. Then you have the recognition seeker. The recognition seeker calls attention to him or herself. And even though it might be related to the task, kind of, sort of, it's really about them. Oh, man, egging, I'm a great egg thrower. I once hit a bullseye 13 times in a row. So yeah, they're talking about, he's talking about, or I'm talking about egging, but really it's all about me. It's not really about the task at hand. This is the recognition seeker. Oh. And then you have the self-confessor. Okay, this is the person who tells things that's not related to the group discussion, that's all related to them that you probably don't want to hear anyway. Okay? So here you are, you're talking about what it is you're going to do this afternoon, and I come in and I join the discussion, and I make it all about me by saying, I am really upset. My parents want to ground me because of my grades. So when I say something like that, I'm not on task. I'm trying to distract people to talk about my problem and not about the business at hand. This is the self-confessor. The dominator. This person gets control over the group by manipulating the group members. Sometimes they're very passive-aggressive about it, or sometimes, well, gosh, I don't have to describe it because you know people like this, who manipulate other people so that they can get their way. Here's my example. I vote for paintball. Harry, you vote with me, or I'll tell your girl exactly what you were really doing last Friday night. So the dominator seeks to control the group members by manipulating them. Then you have the help seeker. This person tries to gain the sympathy of the group. and thus calls attention to themselves by having everybody feel a little bit sorry for them. Oh, I've never thrown an egg. Can somebody show me how? So this person seeks help so that the attention goes to them. And then you have this special interest leader, and this is the person who uses stereotypes to assert his or her own prejudices. You know what? Teachers are mean. Just teachers are outright mean. Ms. Rankin made me get ASD. I think we ought to go A or car because she just deserves it, because she is a mean teacher, because all teachers are mean. Mean. So this is the one who wants their special agenda taken care of through the task at hand in the meeting. So these are the individualistic roles. Now, I know I went through this, and you probably had to stop this several times. But now I think that was the end. Tomorrow, or whatever day, on Thursday, we are going to play group discussion bingo. Remember, to get into the class, to do this, you need to have your completed notes with you, because you're going to be using them to refer to as you watch the movie. And once you get 2 bingos, you get donuts, and that third bingo gets you hot chocolate. So I will see you Thursday, ready to play.